I'm fascinated by the transient nature of being and this idea of movement between spaces, and how when you look at topography and you look at maps from above, you see these patterns and almost the movement of people within these patterns. Hi, my name is Candice Kramer. I am an artist based in Johannesburg. I'm currently working out of Bag Factory Artist Studios. I am a mixed media artist. I am fascinated by my identity and sense of belonging. I often use maps, old photographs, spaces to explore my identity as a South African living and working within Johannesburg. I was drawn to this project because of the direct correlation to my work. It almost felt as the next step, the next progress in how I look and work with maps. I am fascinated with how maps inform our everyday lives. I work a lot with maps, maps of Johannesburg. I like taking them apart, re-looking at them. I call it unmapping, where I reduce the maps to shapes, and these shapes inform our lives. Because it was a commission, I was looking at different areas. I mostly look at inner city Johannesburg, but it was fascinating to look at another area, Dainfern and Diepsloot, and to, even just looking at the map from above, you begin to see the difference in the spaces, and then you kind of understand on an individual level what that means to people living in those spaces. So the title of the work is called Unmapping Josie. I decided to look at specific areas, Dainfern and Diepsloot, because that is what Lauren Landau referred to in his work. I wanted to take a map and to reduce it into the shapes that inform our lives, these people's lives that live in Dainfern and Diepsloot. So my first step was Joburg and its surrounds. I took a map book. I then started printing the maps out, drawing them, coloring them in, reducing them to these beautiful patterns, that they almost become something other than a map, an abstract artwork. I chose to work on copper because of the inherent value that copper holds, and what copper would mean to people living in Dainfern and to people who are living in Diepsloot. It holds a very different meaning. I love also that the copper is extracted from the earth and that cities are sites of extraction. So I wanted to keep the handmade mark on the copper. So I laser cut lino in order to capture each hand-drawn mark from the map. I took the lino and created a small test piece to see how it would look on the copper. I just loved the juxtaposition of the black on the beautiful shiny surface and this inherent value that the artwork will hold. So the final work turned out to 6 large pieces of copper. It in itself became an atlas of a space, and that it's sealed onto the copper, even though these suburbs and areas will change over time. I've sealed it. When you look at maps and topography, you realize what these spaces and the patterns and the difference between the two different areas. If I show you the area on the map that looks like Dainfern versus Diepsloot, it becomes so obvious. I also love the fact that each meter by meter square piece of copper became an abstract work in itself.